So I noticed, yeah, so what we'll do is we'll listen to Pride, have a conversation with him, and then maybe, when he goes through the presentation, or I'll be having maybe a conversation with him depending on how it goes. And when he's completed, then if you have other questions or other points maybe to bring up so that it becomes a joint conversation that can inspire all of us, that would be great. But also feel free to send your question on chat. I'm sure that Lady N is monitoring that. I'll be looking at chat also, and feel free also to come in. And for those who are just new members, I just want to say that, yes, Lady N also indicated this group is being, also I would say, it's become more of community driven. There are lots of people who are supporting this initiative, like being instructors for the cloud practitioner, and as well as taking the labs. So it's always something that we really thank all those who are giving back to the community, and you'll know more of them if you stay here longer. So you'll see them in the practitioner sessions, in the cloud associate sessions as well. And yeah, very soon, those who have been working on the WirfonCloud projects, they'll be coming up maybe sometime to talk about their different projects and how it did work. So yeah, so that's it for new people. I think for those who have been here, this is not much new for you. So good evening, Pride. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Uncle Ben. I can hear you quite all right. How are you
Great.
today?
I'm doing absolutely well. And you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. It's good to be here.
Okay, great. We're also glad to have you, and thanks for coming to share your journey and your story so that we continue to inspire more people in the community. So please just feel free to, I don't know if you want to share your screen and come up, please just feel free.
All right, I will. Of course, I'll share my screen. I have a couple of slides prepared. And I honestly hope that my story will be able to inspire some of you and encourage you as well. So, okay, so let me share my screen. Where is it? Here is it. Can you all see my screen?
It's coming up. Yeah, we can see. I can see now at least. I hope it's the same for others. Yeah.
Yeah, if it just indicate if you can see my screen. I hope my screen is not limited only to Uncle Banjika.
I can see your screen as well.
All right, okay, then that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so I'll just dive straight into the matter at hand. Okay. So my name's Pride Achu. I hail from the northwest region of Cameroon. I was born in Douala, and I basically grew up in Douala as well. So I attended my primary education in Douala, and I went to Boya in St. Jesus College Sase, where I did my secondary education right up to UPSIF. Thereafter, I went to University of Boya between the years 2003 and 2007, where I struggled. I managed to get a degree in economics. You know, considering the situation back home, you know, sometimes you're done with school, you look for a reason to keep going. So I actually went to the Pan-African Institute of Development, West Africa, it's in Boya. For those of you who know about it, I did the diploma, I did the advanced diploma in advertising, marketing and public relations, all in bid to buy time because, you know, things were tough. You know, you felt like you were not ready for the job market. So you just had to keep, you know, piling the certificates left to right and stuff like that. So I was bound to keep going. You know, I did the training. I felt like, okay, with what I have now, if I get into the job market in Douala or wherever, I'll be able to get something going. So that took me about a year, or like 12 months to, for Jules, please. Yeah, thank you. So to get both certificates or both diplomas, it took me about 12 months because each diploma took about 6 months to accomplish. So at that point, it was sometime around 2009. There was nothing to do. I was getting old and I had no job. I went to Douala job searching, No way. Came back to Boya, decided to go, on a private venture by myself. I tried, it wouldn't go. So between 2009 and 2016, honestly, I was living by the grace of God, because that I did not know how I actually survived, but I could also count on my parents every now and then. But if you've been in Douala, you would understand that, or in Cameroon generally, if you don't have the right network, if you're not blessed with the right network, or probably hunt with some extra kind of skills, it's very difficult for you to pick up a job. So till about 2016, I moved again to Douala, and I decided to do something more practical. So I did a training as a clearing agent in the ports, in Douala seaports. And after a while, I was working in the seaports, clearing containers. I was a broking agent. I was a custom broker. People would come with their containers and I'll help them take it out of the port. So it was a very daunting and challenging experience, because I will not get clients all the time. So it wasn't very easy. But between 2016 and 2020, I was dabbling around that field. So I was in the seaport, as the Frenchman would call it, I was a débrouillard. If I could make something, I'll make it, and I'll keep some money in my pocket. If I could support my parents, I would. If I could buy a pair of shoes or shirt, it wasn't easy. And then I got lucky. 2020, I met my partner, and I moved to England. So as I'm talking to you right now, I'm currently living in England with my wife and a daughter in Peterborough. So I think October will make me 2 years in England. So when I got to England, actually, I was advised, anyways, I'll get that. I was advised to do something more professional. I decided to do, I started doing software testing, QA, quality assurance testing. I think it's all about testing applications and softwares. It's a career in IT, also very, very interesting as well. So my partner advised me to do a QA testing. So I did the certification, ISTQB. I have that in my box somewhere. I did that. I took the certification, and I thought maybe I could actually start off my IT career with software testing. But somewhere along the line, I met a very good friend of mine, Simon. I don't know if you guys all know him. We were both in Boya, and then we moved to Douala, struggling to get jobs and stuff. Anyway, we were not doing the same things, but we will always meet in the same areas. So one day Simon and I were talking, and it was like, there's this new stuff, it's called AWS. I said, what do you mean by AWS? Actually, when I was doing my training as a QA tester, we brushed on cloud computing. We did not actually dive deep into it, but we just brushed, superficially on cloud computing. And he tried to make me understand that, okay, AWS is cloud computing and it's a platform. I said, yeah, I get it, but what is it all about? He said, it's deep, man. And if you want to get, more knowledge, you should go to YouTube. You should do some knowledge and research on that. So I actually did some research on the side, and I realized that, okay, it was one of the fields in IT that was growing fast. It's one of the fields that was capturing the interest of so many people. So I decided to say, okay, I will do some training as back then we just say solutions architect. So I decided to contact a few people to give me a few resources, or maybe point me in the right direction. But some of them were evasive. Some of them will not come forward. Some of them will not tell you what it is, because I had a couple of friends that at the time I realized they're working in the cloud environment. So I'll ask, like, where did you do your training? What do I need and stuff? And they actually directed me to an institution in the United States. They do, they'll train you overnight. And I was attending classes in the middle of the night and stuff like that. Then after a while, I came back to Simon. I was like, Simon, man, I'm really struggling with this stuff, man. Do you have an idea of what I can do? He said, yeah. I think he's got his cousin in London, and his cousin is part of a network of cloud architects and AWS cloud architects, and he can actually hook me up with, and I can actually take it from there. And that's how I actually came to joining WirfonCloud, because I think he gave me a link. I filled the form, and upon filling the form, I was sent another link to join the Telegram group, and we took it from there. So I joined WirfonCloud in April 2021, I think. Okay. And I met a steady network of cloud architects and DevOps engineers. I mean, like, you will have conversations with people, and they will help to actually fine tune or sharpen your knowledge on certain things, especially subjects that you actually learn on the side by yourself, but you needed more clarity on them. So when I joined the WirfonCloud, we were first of all introduced in the general forum where everybody was found. And based on your current knowledge of the cloud or some of the cloud services, you will either put in the practitioner forum or in the associate, where in the forum for associate, if you're practicing for the associate exam. So there were different forums. I don't know if there was a forum for professionals, but I knew I was limited to either the practitioner or the associate level. And I think we did an evaluation and realized that, okay, I could actually belong in the associate forum, and I was added to the associate forum, where together we did practice on exams, questions, and we attended classes very early in the morning, as early as 4:30, as Lady N actually pointed out. Like, these classes for those of us in England, it was 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and you sit up until about 7 before you can start your day. So we will usually attend these classes, and towards the end, we will actually have practice sessions where we'll practice exam questions. Yes, we have practice sessions where we'll practice exam questions, and we had hands-on exercises where we actually had a lot of exercises where you could actually deploy resources using the AWS platform through the console. So it was quite engaging, and the participation was immense. Like, we were all, everybody would give in their own, everybody would participate. Basically, we were all there to participate. And I remember my first presentation with WirfonCloud, I was supposed to handle EC2 and IAM, because when they divided all the, I think the model or the strategy that Uncle Banjeka used was actually come up with a couple of topics, and he will ask us to pick a topic and make a presentation on them. That would require you to go back home and do some research, study, and then come back the following day and do your presentation. So I remember when he presented the topics and everybody was shy. It was like I had a conversation with him. I was like, you just have to give everybody a topic, because if you're waiting for people to choose, it will be a while. And it was like, no, it's best for people to actually pick up the topics that they know they are more comfortable with. And now I see the wisdom in that. So we all waited, and anyways, I was like, okay, I'll go first. I took EC2 instance and IAM. So I did the presentations back to back on, I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday. Yes, I did the presentation on those two topics. And that presentation alone, it actually made you understand that, okay, at some point you need to be able to face a crowd or a group of people and be able to talk, and and basically it actually sharpens your skill on presentation, because in the field where we're working right now, sometimes you will be asked to defend a solution, you'll be asked to defend a project. So you must be in that position where you can talk to people regardless and not shy away. So the presentation actually, it helped, because so many people were shy, but then they actually found a way. If you can do it once, you do it twice, and you can do it 3 or 4 times, and you'll easily be able to jump that hurdle when the time comes. So we did the presentations, and there were questions asked, and where we were lacking, Okubanjeka was there to actually, reiterate, actually make, the point more how can I put it, to actually explain and break it down for the understanding of the entire class. And there were times when we had hands-on lab sessions. I think it was through quick labs. Yes, I think Lady N was the one handling those sessions sometimes. Yeah, and those sessions will give you a broader aspect, a broader perspective of what's happening in AWS in particular, because you see some of these services, you don't even know how you can go about deploying them. So the hands-on sessions, you attend them, and you go back home on your own, and you actually do these labs, and you see that these things are doable, and it's not magic. It makes you understand what you're headed towards, and if that makes any sense. So between the lab sessions and the classes and the presentations, you build a skill, and you don't even know you're building that skill, and it helps a lot. And towards the end as well, we actually had groups where we were working on projects. I think there were 3 projects. There was serverless, there was site to site, and I think one other project I've forgotten. I belong to the group with Site VPN, together with Akor and Colette, and I forgot some of my group mates. I think
Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph.
Harriet.
Harriet was she part of my group? Yeah. Okay. So during these sessions, we will actually work on these projects as if we were in a real life, workplace. Say you've been given a project and you're working with other colleagues, and you guys have to come together. Tasks were shared amongst yourselves, and you have to go to the Jira board. You pick up a task, move it to in progress. Leave comments if you're having issues. During our stand-ups, you would actually talk about your challenges, and you would, basically like what actually happens in all the workplaces. That's how it works. And we did that for, I think, almost a month or 2. And at some point, I'll be honest, I actually left the project halfway, because that was a point where I was deep in the middle of looking for work, and I had a couple of interviews back to back. Anyways, I'll get back to that later. So I was trying to break down my time at WirfonCloud, and like I said, Mr. Banjika and Lady N, always there. I'll call them and I'll send them a text. I was like, please, I'm stuck at this point. I don't know if you have a minute so we can talk. Lady N will just pick up the phone and say, can I call you? She was like, yeah. She would actually call me, and we will talk for like 20, 25 minutes. I'm like, but you're working, right? She said, yes. I said, wow. For you to find the time and talk to me in 25 minutes, that was something. I was not really looking for that much attention though, but she would give me her own assistance. Uncle Banjika would be there as well. I felt like, whenever I had any issues with regards to the cloud, I will not be lacking, because I can always knock on these doors and it will be open for me. So especially when it came to preparing for the exams, Mr. Banjika particularly, he actually directed me towards they call it, it's a platform, or rather a resource, Tojo Tutorials. Back then they had a bank of questions where you can buy the questions, and then you practice. You would understand, how the exam is structured, how the questions are structured, how challenging the questions are. So for those of you who don't know about the Tojo Tutorials, he directed me towards that. And when I bought the exams, if that's how I can call it, when I bought it, I went through the questions. I felt like I have not even started learning AWS or anything, because so many of those questions were I did not understand any of those questions. But a bank of over, I think 65 times 7. I don't know. I'm not very good with maths, but a bank of over 400 questions. You have to read those questions and answer them. And as much as the questions don't come in the exam verbatim, because they will always twist them. And, if you understand the concepts, you'll be able to answer the question. But so many people fail to understand that the exams are not there for you, the questions are not there for you to cram them. It's just to understand the questions. Because I remember there was a time when I came back to Mr. Banjika and I was like, do I really have to cram these questions? Would they all come in the exam? And it was like, no, you don't have to cram the questions. You just have to understand the questions and understand that these are topics, these are various areas where the exams will actually lay a lot of emphasis on. So the material that I got from Tujo tutorials, together with, I had an account with Udemy as well, together with Stefan Maresk. I used those questions and actually practiced and prepared for my exam. And I booked the exam 2 weeks after I sat for the exam. Not 2 weeks after preparing, please. I mean, like at the point when I felt like I was ready, I booked for the exam 2 weeks before. And then when I sat for the exam, I mean, I was lucky enough to pass the exam, though that was the second time I was sitting for the exam. I have to be honest with you, because the first time I sat for the exam, I did it online. I sat at home. I wanted to do the exam. I booked the exam for 1 a.m. And at the point of writing the exam, I had so many technical issues. You know, the proctor kept saying, you should close this tab. I was like, I can't see the tab. I mean, the technical issue, we tried to solve the technical issue for about 3 hours and we did not succeed. And if at the end of it, before the exam was released, I had spent over 5 to 6 hours to write an exam that actually was supposed to take 2 hours. So by the time I was writing the exam, I was tired, I was flustered, I could not actually concentrate. So I was just like, anyways, let's just get it over with. So I wrote the exam and I failed. And then the second time I was like, no, I have to go to the exam center because I don't want to get in the position where I was before. So I booked the exam not too long after, like maybe a week after. I booked the exam. I went to an approved center. I sat there and I aced the exam. So I don't know, it's my advice I'll give you. If you want to write the exam, honestly, you can sit at home and do it. But if you want a clean head, go to an approved center and write your exam. Okay. I think I've actually gone through all of this. So other learning sources that I use in my journey, I use Cloud Guru. I don't know if you know Cloud Guru. Cloud Guru, you can get an account with Cloud Guru, though you have to pay as well. I use YouTube. YouTube has got a world of knowledge, depending on what you're looking for, how you're looking for it, on anything cloud related. You can get it on YouTube. Udemy, WeSlabs, I had an account on all of these platforms. I also did some training. I went to JJ Tech to do DevOps tools, to learn DevOps tools, Terraform, CloudFormation, Docker, Kubernetes, CI/CD pipeline, so all the DevOps tools. So I had to enroll in an institution in the United States called JJ Tech to actually do the DevOps bit of cloud computing. So you can also use Google on the side if you want to, follow your search, follow your searches. Now come to the matter at hand. The job application bits. So I need to make you guys understand something. Ever since I went through my education, through university, even got through Pan-African Institute of Development with all the diplomas in my pocket, the English job market. So I went online. I took a couple of sample CVs, cloud architect CVs. I asked some of my friends to send me their CVs as well. And I did a comparative analysis of all the CVs I had in front of me, and I saw the similarities, and I saw where they were paying more attention on their CVs. So I decided to build my CV based on that format. I built my CV. I put 2 companies on my CV that I've been working because it's for the past 5 years, because they'll ask, how many years of experience do you have in cloud or in the IT industry or with AWS, and you have to tell them. So I put that on my CV as well. I went to job portals. I went to 3 job portals. I did not go beyond that. I went to 3 job portals. I uploaded my CV there and I made myself searchable. There were also instances where I went to to companies portal. There were companies where I went to Google, I looked for jobs. I realized that some companies were actually advertising these jobs. There were vacancies. So I went to their portals as well and I applied for these jobs. I created a LinkedIn profile. That was the first time in my life having a LinkedIn profile. I did a call. I think I went to YouTube to find out how to create a LinkedIn profile, what you should put, and how to make it look professional. I created my LinkedIn profile as well. For then, I knew at that point that I was ready to get into the job market. So I went into the job market. I left the CVs there, and I sat and I waited. The good thing is my CV was attractive enough because recruiters kept calling me every week or every day. I get at least 3 or 4 phone calls from recruiters. The process is that simple. Recruiters here in England anyways, the recruiters, they will call you, you have a chat for maybe 10, 15 minutes. They'll try to, ascertain your level or ascertain if you're actually qualified for any of the jobs that I've picked up. Because like I said, I made my CV searchable, which means that there is an algorithm. There is maybe a software that actually runs an algorithm and is looking for certain keywords. So if your CV has got those keywords, it'll pick your CV and present it in front of a recruiter. So that's what usually happens. So the recruiter looks at the CV, gives you a phone call, you have a chat with him. This is very informal, you try to understand how long you've been working, what are your skill sets, where you're living, if you're prepared to move, if you're prepared to actually drive to offices and stuff like that. And they'll tell you what the job that they're advertising at the moment. And they'll ask if you need representation. So you have to sign up on the representation. They will represent you. So, I had this course like that every day, 2 or 3. And if you're lucky enough, when they send your CV forward to the hiring managers of these companies that they're representing, if you're lucky enough, they'll get to book you an interview. So when they book you an interview now, they'll ask you if you're available in 3 or 4 weeks, 4 or 5 days, and you give a day that is convenient for you, and they'll tell you that, okay, this is convenient or not. So when you guys get an agreed date, you know that you're scheduled for an interview. Now, the interview is usually, some interviews can go as many as 3 phases. Because I've attended up to 3 phases interview, but sometimes it's just 2 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So based on that, I have to go and prepare, for interviews, like what are the interviews supposed to look like. I've never, like I said, bear in mind, I have never in life, you go through interviews without even knowing because you're talking to people and then you try to sell yourself. But I have never gone, because even in Douala, when I was in the job market, I never even had the opportunity to sit for an interview. So this was all new to me. So I had to understand, especially in this part of the world, what interviews looked like, what are the kind of questions to expect, considering the kind of the field that I am involved in, how to answer those questions, your mannerisms, nuances, all of those things. So I had to go to YouTube and I'll dig up questions. Honestly, YouTube was not of any help because YouTube would tell me their own things. But when I went to my first interview, I was battered. I went to my first interview and these guys, they asked me questions and it had nothing to do with what I read or what I saw on YouTube. And the only lesson I took from that was, interviews are a learning process. You have to attend as many as you can to actually get a grasp and, understand how you can navigate through any interview process. It's basically all the same thing, but it's all about being assertive. It's all about, speaking your mind and talking. Even if you're talking rubbish, you should talk it confidently. It's all about being likable in interviews. Because once the interviewer likes you, it doesn't matter what you say. The truth is they are all aware of the fact that you can't know everything. And when they ask you a question and you start babbling or you are stuttering, and then you just rather tell them that you've not used it before, but you have an idea what it is, and you can tell them the idea of what you know it is. So when you have an interview and your interviewer or the interviewers on the other side of the computer, and you're smiling and you're trying to create a relationship with them and you're trying to create a bond, that's usually the first step, because One of my interviewers told me before that in the interview process, honestly, 70% is your attitude. The remaining 30% is your skill and your knowledge. The skill you can build or knowledge can be acquired. So they need someone with a good attitude that will be able to blend in with the team. I'm saying this because I know very soon, well, you all will, you would have done your training, get your certification, and then you get into the job market. And honestly, you think because you actually know it all, you will actually just pick up a job like the snap of your finger. No. If you have a very bad attitude, you have to work on it. Attitude simply means that if you don't have interpersonal skills, you really have to develop those skills, because those are the skills I guarantee you that will get you a job. So I watched, like I said, I watched relevant questions and possible answers. I asked a friend to do a mock interview with me. So we sat, and I don't know where he was getting his own questions from, but he asked me totally irrelevant questions. I mean, to date, I've attended about 7 interviews. I've never heard those questions from. So I've never heard those questions. So he did his best. We had a mock interview, and he gave me an assessment of the interview, and he told me that I was ready. So I went into the job market. Like I said, I went through 7 interviews. 2 had 3 phases, and the other interviews had just 2 phases. Now, phase 1, what happens is they just ask you, I mean, with the interviewers and not with the recruiters. Phase 1 is usually between 30 and 45 minutes. It's probably just informal. Sometimes phase 1 can even last up to 1 hour. It depends on the organization. So during the first phase, they'll ask you questions like, tell me about yourself, because that's usually the trap that they want to set, because they need you to lead the interview. They ask you to tell them about you. They'll ask you to tell them about yourself, and you need to tell them. They don't want to know where you were born. They don't want to know if your father is from Campbell or from Saul. They don't want to know that. They just want to know your professional life. They want to know where you started your IT journey and how it's going so far. So when they ask you that question, that's what they want to know. So you have to tell them about yourself. So you have to break it down and tell them something, a story, how you got into IT, and, and how you find yourself in IT now, and what you're doing, and what the last project you worked on. And that's the reason why the project that we worked on, the site-to-site VPN that we worked on, came in very handy. Because whenever they ask me, tell me about yourself, I have to tell them my story from 2012. I told them how I was first of all in the United States. I was there. I started, as QA tester. At some point, I started doing IT, and then I got into cloud computing. And then I moved from there, and I came to England, and I've been working for the past 7 years. And the last project that we just worked on, which was site VPN, where we were actually trying to create a link. I had to break down the entire project and the part I played in the project. So based on what I told them, they will ask me follow-up questions based on what I told them, and it makes it easy because I already have a knowledge of what I can tell them, and I'm actually leading the interviewer. So the interviewer will ask me questions based on what I've said, and then I'll be able to answer. But when I leave it open-ended, the interviewer will ask me his own questions that he came with, and sometimes they come with questions that I don't even know the answers to. So that's usually what happens during the stage 1, the first stage. Then they'll ask you personal questions, where you live, where you live at the moment, and usually basically HR questions. Now stage 2 is more technical, because stage 2 they want to see you excel in a scenario-based interview. They'll ask you scenario-based questions, and you need to prove to them that you've actually done these things. So which means that whatever lie you put on your CV, you should be able to defend it. Defend it. Even if you're lying, defend it till you die. That's just the honest truth. So I don't want to go a lot into the interview process. I'm sure you have an opportunity to ask me a question at the end of the presentation. So anything you want to ask me, even if it's regards to interviews, it's fine. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the interview process, but that's just it. And so my current role, I'm a cloud architect. I'm a cloud architect with a very big organization here in the United Kingdom. My role is basically, what we do is, like one of the tasks that I work on, it's to do an assessment on IAM roles anywhere. I don't know if you've heard about it. I've been working on that and I'm still working on it. I have to do an assessment on IAM roles anywhere to see if I can use that to leverage. I can leverage it to replace their current service accounts in my organization. So when it gets to a point where I know we can actually leverage it and replace the current service accounts, I'll be the one to implement it. So my role goes around, I'm an architect. I design architecture. I'm part of the process of implementing in the cloud. So I'll be honest, I've only been working for a month now, a month and a week. So yeah, so I'm actually new to the process, but I'm way ahead. I'm ahead than any other person who's not actually working. So I can't really tell you much about my role right now because I'm still learning. I'm still getting to understand what the entire role is expecting of me. But it's basically around, taking, requirements and actually translating them into, technical aspects in the cloud and stuff like that. So it's around that. And the good thing is I actually did some training, learning DevOps tools, which means that Terraform, I'm not a stranger to Terraform or CloudFormation, or maybe GitLab or GitHub, all of those things. I'm not a stranger to them. My organization knows, they understand that I'm not an expert, but they know that if they put, those tools in front of me, I might be able to move a code or write a line of code or do something. So it's always good to get some of those, to get that skill set under your belt. So basically, there's so much I can actually say, but I think if you have any questions, you ask me, because thanks to the knowledge that I acquired from WirfonCloud, I tell you this, I will not be where I am right now if I did not been for WirfonCloud, because the resources that they pointed me in the right directions. They answered my questions when I had doubts, even when I had interviews. There was this time I remember I had a project, I had this interview, this interview, I went for stage 1, stage 2, and the third stage, they gave me a task to come and work on. I remember I called, I will not let Akko rest the whole of that week. I was like, Akko, I need your help with this, And Akko came on a call here and now. We tried to understand what that project was all about, but that was just a crazy project, just giving me headache for nothing, man. Akko and I, we did an assessment on the project. We looked at it, and I went back and did the best I could. I presented it during the third stage of the interview. The guys said they were impressed, but actually, maybe I was up against somebody who actually had the experience. So you see, those are the perks that I'm talking about, because every now and then, even when you get to the workplace, even eventually when you start working, you will need to always turn back to someone who can give you help. Surround yourself with cloud enthusiasts. Always make sure that your feet's in. Is it feet? The feet now. When you're watching YouTube and those suggestions that pop up, they're feet, right? Even on, yes, Instagram, all your social media platforms that you're there, just make sure that whatever you're searching anything AWS related or cloud computing, and they'll keep giving you material to read. And if you can make sure, if you're listening to music, if you're working out, you can listen to somebody talking about AWS on YouTube. If you're driving in a car, just like a podcast, just surround yourself with it, because at some point it just becomes a part of you. It's in your subconscious. When you're talking, it will just flow. You will not need to struggle. So basically, I was supposed to, it was part of the slide where I was supposed to give you an advice and make you understand that this is a journey that it takes a very strong mindset to undertake, and you need to be very, very, very focused. You need to surround yourself with just the resources that you need. On weekends, if you can always, create a forum or a group of friends. You guys can always sit and talk about, Mr. Watson, please. Thank you. And you can always talk about, the challenges that you guys are facing with regards to the cloud. Trust me, it's IT. So You should not be discouraged, not feel like, oh, it's not doable, you need to be coding left and right. Even the coding, it's doable. I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but I've seen that it's doable. And you should not feel discouraged. It should not discourage you. You should not feel like, no, this thing is going to kill me. No, you just have to keep pushing. My journey took me 8 to 10 months to get where I am right now. So it's taking some people 2 years. It's taking some people 13 months. It can take you maybe 6 months. We are all not the same, but you should understand something. If you keep pushing, it's very rewarding. It is very rewarding. You will not have any regrets, especially for those who are in this part of the world. I don't know about those in Cameroon, but I understand that there are cloud jobs, hovering around some parts of Africa. I know you can actually land one. It is very rewarding, and you will not have any regrets. So that's it for me right now. I don't think I have anything to add for now, but I'll be willing to answer all your questions and any other worries that you have.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Before we go to any questions, please, a big hands of applause to Cloud, to Pride. Feel free to make and give congratulations. Right.
Congratulations, Pride.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Right. So, yeah, thanks everyone again. And please keep your questions coming for those that are putting your questions on the chat. But before we go to questions, and since we're talking about WirfonCloud and Pride, I'm just very happy that when we started the WirfonCloud projects, the Pioneer Group, just because of your seriousness and commitment to this journey, you immediately jumped to the Site VPN group. And you say that played a very big part in your interview. Do you want to maybe just expand a little bit about that? Because we keep talking about these projects, what they can do for you. Can you maybe, if there's something you want to still add, we're happy we had Barry who brought us the agile method so that we have that complete setup. Do you want to expand a little bit, just that people understand the importance of projects like those? Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, if you have that kind of experience, you've been working for 5 years, even if you've been working for 10 months, there are some things that you are supposed to know. There are some fundamentals in the workplace that you should know. One of those things is how you can work with your colleagues using the platforms like Jira or Confluence, because those are the platforms that they use in workplaces nowadays, with or without Scrum Masters. Now, we had a Scrum Master who was Colette Berry. She was very instructive. She would actually take us through what the Jira board is supposed to do, explain it to us. I mean, she's one of the reasons for my success stories, honestly. Because in the interview, when they ask you, like, what does your day look like in the workplace, you are supposed to tell them when you wake up in the morning, after you make yourself a cup of tea, you have to check your email if you have something from your line manager. You have to go to the Jira board and pick up a ticket if you have been assigned one. If you have been assigned one, you have to move the ticket to in progress, or you like to show them that you're working on it right now. Once you're done with that ticket, the ticket is just a task that has been assigned to you. Once you're done with it now, you'll move the status of that task to done. And this is all what we did during the site-to-site VPN project, because we were all given tasks individually and we went to the board and you have a task assigned to you. Now you take each task, you go, you work on it from in progress, it's in progress to done, and you get a notification if you have a comment on it, it gets notified on in your email address. So that whole experience was easy for me because I could easily answer questions during the interview process, because if they asked me a question like, what work environment do we use? It's definitely agile. So in an agile environment, you definitely use these tools that I'm talking about. So they cannot ask you a question like that and you say you don't know, or they say, what does your daily routine, what does it look like? You're supposed to be able to say every day you have stand-ups, Or stand-up sessions. Anyways, when you start doing the Scrum session, you will understand. You're supposed to know these things, and you would not know. I would not have known if I had not had, Colette come on to actually explain to us what the Scrum Master does or what the Agile methodology is all about. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, absolutely. I'm sure. But yeah, you make quite good sense, and I think Colette is here. I'm sure she should also be all smiles for the input she has given to this community in that area of agile methodology, right, Colette? I'm sure you're here. Thanks again, our Scrum Master here. So, yeah.
Thank you, Uncle Ban. Thank you, Pride.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's great to know. I mean, so I think for those listening, that is the opportunity. Pride came at a time when we are still doing lab sessions just on Fridays, and you could also hear from his testimony the importance of these labs. Luckily today, we run lab sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm very grateful for Theophil, who has been the pioneer lab instructor for the moment. I've been to the lab sessions as well, and it's really great work he's putting up. And we just can encourage everyone to make use of this. The step 2, having those hands-on projects, making you being able to tell the story about what you have. And I think is this my field, right? Of course, right? You notice that we give that in WirfonCloud, we could help you. Anyone get started, point you to resources. I'm happy. Pride also did his homework, right? Go and look for more resources, work on them, because there is so much that at times we will not be able to offer all. I mean, in most cases, there are some few dots that are very important for you to finish. You did talk about JJ Tech. I don't know, maybe some people will be interested to know more what was this and how did it help you? You said you did some training with JJ Tech. Do you also want to expand on that and maybe introduce the community to them if it's important?
Okay. Honestly, okay, what happened was when I started job hunting, I noticed that most of the job descriptions that came required you to have some knowledge on DevOps skills. In case you don't know what DevOps tools are just in the cloud infrastructure as code tools. I mean, like tools that you can use to deploy a resource using code. So most of the job descriptions that we had or that I saw require you to actually have these skills. And I just knew what S3 was. I had done some lab hands-on on S3, EC2, all of these services on AWS. I knew all of them. I even knew the advantages and all that. But when it came to deploying using code, I was lost. I did not have a clue. And whenever I would sit for an interview, they'll ask me, what is IAC? Or have you ever used Terraform before? I was like, no, which was a big mistake. So what I did was I actually I was directed to go and study just the DevOps part with these guys in America. JJ Tech, I think it's an institution. It has been teaching students DevOps tools for as far back as 2016, I think. And the good thing is they provided a reference for me when it came to when I got the job, and my office asked for a reference. Like, since I've been working before, I actually put them on my CV so they provided a reference too for me. So these guys, they taught me every night between midnight, because since I'm in England and in the United States, the timing difference will not allow us to actually attend classes at the same time. So when they are having their classes at 7 p.m., it's midnight for me here. So I have to be awake till about midnight, from midnight to about 4 or 5 a.m. in the mornings. That's when I attended the classes. So I did training on learning how to use Terraform. I learned how to use CloudFormation. I learned how to use Docker. I learned how to use GitLab, GitHub, all the commands, all of that, CI/CD pipeline. So I knew I just had to know those things. I know them, but the honest truth is, I'm not an expert on them, because my organization knows that I'm not an expert with coding. They just expect me to be able to look at lines of code and understand what this code means, or I cannot be presented with, you know, a code that is supposed to deploy something and I cannot tell what it is. So I told them that I'm not an expert, but I do understand Terraform, I do understand CloudFormation, I do understand all of these things. So I went to JJ Tech to actually do my studies to grab a proper knowledge on these DevOps tools. So JJ Tech, like I said, if you go to Google, you type JJ Tech, you have any other information that you need to have on them.
Okay. No, thank you for that. Good to know. And I think I've been hearing throughout from Shay Timothy to Cham, the concept of IIC tools keeps coming up. And hopefully we did try to run a Terraform group here. It didn't go, but the more I listen to this and the more we hope more people continue to volunteer, I think the more the need for us to have groups that are really active in Linux and Terraform. We have those groups, but they are not very active. And those are some of those things that we need to have some basics. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because it is very important, because like we all know, AWS, you know, the machines that deploy, the operating system is Linux, and you should be able to know those Linux commands. And one thing I failed to mention is, don't be discouraged. For the rest of you, for the others, I'm talking to the others, not to you. We rarely do any deployments through the console. That you should know beforehand, and it should not discourage you. They will always use the CLI. If you don't know what the CLI is, the command line interface, where you go to your machine and you type CMD, that's what everybody uses. I don't know about any other organization, but we don't do anything on the console. It's true, it's good to know the processes that takes place to deploy a resource, but you need to know how to, at the very minimum, run a few commands through your CLI. And you can only know these things if you actually learn them. So it's very important to know some of these tools, know how to run your commands, or even deploy a simple resource as simple as an EC2 instance through your CLI, or through a Terraform, or one of these infrastructure as code tools. But I might be calling all of these big terms and you might be frightened. Don't be frightened. When you get your training and you feel like, okay, you have understood all the services of AWS and what they're supposed to do, then you can undertake the challenge now of actually understanding the various coding processes and all these commands that you're supposed to use for Linux, or maybe for Git Bash or GitLab and all of these things. But it's very important. It is very important.
Thank you for that. I mean, I like the fact that you've emphasized that. And again, also telling people this is doable, because especially for those of you who are new, remember the process. You always have to learn how to stand, right? Before you learn how to walk, before you learn how to run. So for all of you who are joining, don't start thinking, can you do this, right? If Pride is here and can do it, the others have done it without an IT background, without science or so, then you can do it, right?
Yeah, but brother, honestly, if I tell you, I ran from 3, I know one catch maths. I mean, like,
when you say it in pidgin, it's very serious, right? It's not a joke.
You understand that it's serious.
Right.
That's how I got it from mathematics was introduced in Form 3, and that concept just made me crazy. Okay. And I went to, that's a concept I don't want to see. And when you hear about coding, you feel like it's all about math, it's complex, you know, there's so many, but honestly, I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, if you put your mind to it right, you would just, you would do it. Great. Take it from me, and don't for 1 minute be discouraged. If you just put your mind to it,
absolutely,
yeah, you'll get there.
No, thank you for that. Okay, the other thing as we go along is you stress on the importance of understanding concepts, right, in taking your exams, because I think that is something we need to remind people, right? When you study, always ask yourself about what is the concept behind what you're studying. and this understanding of concepts, especially for your solutions architect exams, do you want to say how that helped you, or just in general, studying to understand concepts, doing your presentation? Because I have the same thing now, we have the Solutions Architect Associate group, and we're trying to encourage and tell people to present, and I'm very happy what you said about that. Do you want to talk about concepts and presentations again, as just to emphasize it for everyone who is new and who is willing to take this journey? Yeah.
Okay, basically, when I talk about the concepts, I mean like all the concepts that AWS has, like all the services that all the services and resources that AWS has got available for its clients, And if you want to sit for the associate exam, you should be able to understand how all of these concepts they interrelate and how to communicate with one another, like how you can use all of these services to come up with a solution. Because bear in mind, the associate exam is an advanced exam. It's more advanced than the practitioner exam. And the associate exam would actually give you scenario-based questions where you will have to use a service and another service to come up with something. So you need to be able to understand all of these concepts, understand it in depth, and know how you can actually integrate one concept with the other to come up with an outcome. Because when they ask you a question, they'll try to give you 5 or 6 different answers, and these answers might look similar. Sometimes they are similar, but you need to be able to know the right one, because it's multiple choice. So you'll pick the right one and you feel like you're picking the right one, because if you read the lines, they always feel like these guys are always saying, they're almost saying the same thing. But if you know this particular concept, say for instance, they're talking about, which simple concept can I use? Maybe S3 buckets, and they say, okay, which one would we all know that in order to save costs, depending on the use cases, you can use the infrequent infrequent access one zone S3 bucket to save costs and stuff like that. And they would make you understand that maybe, I mean, for the question in the exam, and they have to tell you that, okay, if you, they will put one zone infrequent access, then they will put the other one infrequent access. I mean, they'll try to confuse you, but if you know what that is, one ZA, you know the answer. You should be able to know the answer. And I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but if you understand the concepts, you understand the concept and you understand how they relate with one another in the cloud, if they ask you a question, you'll be able to process that question and you will be able to give them the answer that is required. And you will even have an advantage because they always give you a few answers that you can choose from. So if you just see the answer that this one makes more sense, you will be able to pick that one and then you'll get your certification. I think that's all I can say with regards to that. Okay.
No, that's fine. No, thank you very much, Pride. It's almost 1 hour. I know if we continue this conversation, it can go. So I'll just go back to the comments we have on chat. I've seen Colette was asking during your interview, were you asked to perform any hands-on?
No.
Okay, good. No. So that is a no. And I see Wanda is asking, when you were shortlisted for the job as a beginner, did your employer give you some training before you get started?
All right. First thing you should understand is no two organizations are the same. So even if I have 10 years experience and I go to the next organization, they'll give me time to be able to understand how their infrastructure looks like. So I should be able to know what are the services that are deployed on their infrastructure, what is it they do. I need to be able to learn their environment, and they'll usually give you somebody who will take you through that. So they're not taking you through, they're not taking you to train you about AWS, they're taking you to train you about their own environment, like how many resources they have in the cloud, how many accounts they have, how many VPCs they have, where their root account is, and all that. They will let you know so that, you know, as an architect, definitely, if you have to design an architect tomorrow, you know what you're working with. Mm-hmm. So that process usually takes maybe 1-2 months, you know, and that's what that is. So but some organizations, they will allow you to do training on other IT related things, because my organizations, for example, I'm allowed to take a day off every 2 weeks to do training, to train myself on IT related something, maybe security or maybe networking, you know. So I can take a day off and I'll do training, and then they'll sponsor my certification and all that. If I have to pay for it, they'll pay it, you know. So that's something completely different. So, but you want to do a skill, you want to add a skill that your employer would actually benefit from. He's ready to pay for that, for you to go and get that skill. Skill that got you the job, they are not going to do you any training on the skill that got you any job. I don't know if it makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think you've answered that one question. So I don't know, Lady N, do you want to come and make comments? And then please, I don't see any questions, but raise your hand if you have a question, or maybe after when Lady N is through, you can come in and hopefully we can hear from more people after. Go ahead, Lady N.
Sure. So just big congratulations on my side, Pride.
Thank you very much.
Really love your enthusiasm. I mean, it shows for itself, looking for DevOps, something DevOps, not only aligning to what was taught and what we have here, going extra miles. And I love the point you brought on the presentation in the solutions architect group, because, as Uncle Ban said, we are still doing the same method, and we're trying that people should feel much more comfortable presenting. I mean, the fact that you said, okay, that helps, because at some point at the job site or during interviews, you have to present something. So that gives a lot of experience, and thank you so much. And I mean, your journey is really wow.
Like I said, the presentations that we did, I need everybody to share this, and you need to keep that in mind. It builds your confidence. That confidence alone, you know, when you're talking with confidence, you intimidate whoever is interviewing you. And sometimes they get flustered. They cannot even ask you questions that they want to ask you. Honestly, because you're going up against people who have the actual experience. I mean, who have actually worked for 5-6 years. So you should be able to set yourself apart. And if you go and you're stuttering and then you're saying, you know, already you're beaten. So those presentations, they help you build your confidence. If you have other techniques to build your confidence, go ahead and do that, because that's what will get you a job in an interview.
Thank you so much for taking time and sharing tips on CVs. Thank you a lot. I've seen many people are in the forums applauding your story. We are from Emavs. Sorry for not pronouncing the name well. He just asked a question. Okay, thank you, Pride. You make us see the light at the end of the tunnel. Did they ask you at the end if you have a question to ask? And if yes, what was the question you did ask?
Yeah. I mean, during all the interviews, they always give you an opportunity for you to ask a question. And you have to ask them a question. You are not going to ask them stupid questions. Definitely, you have to ask them questions from a professional standpoint. So my question was usually, first of all, I always ask them like, well, what are the challenges that they are facing, that they feel like if I have to come in with my skill set, I will help them with. So that was one of the questions that I always ask them, like, what is the challenge, or what are the challenges that their organization is facing and that they need my skill set for? And they will go about talking about things I don't even understand for the next 10 minutes. And I'll just agree like, okay, makes sense, you know. So those are one of the questions. You have an opportunity to ask the question. You can ask them anything. You can even ask them like, where does the organization see itself in the next 10 years? Because you see yourself like you want to be able to grow, you know, and you don't want someone holding you back. So where does the organization see itself in the next 10 years? You know, ask them those challenging questions, and they'll ask themselves like, this guy means business, you know? So that's just 2 examples. I mean, you can walk the other ones by yourself.
Okay. Then the last question from him before. Okay, Uncle Ban wanted to say something. Uncle Ban.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The last question from Amasa before we go to Aqua. He said, what was your biggest holdback or scare during the process? I guess he means interview process.
During the interview process or during the entire journey?
Can you be specific, Amasa? I'm not able to pronounce the name. Interview.
Okay, interview. My biggest scare. I've always gone I've always gone in live with the principle or with the concept, with the notion. Oh, excuse me, let me put this. Okay. So I adopt a process. I adopt a philosophy in my life that I think many people can actually adhere to if they have a chance. Like, you cannot lose what you don't have, you know? So when I go into an interview, honestly, I'm not scared to lose a job that I don't have yet. So I basically, if as far as one of the biggest care was the fact that I might be asked a question, and a question that I definitely know of, but at the point in time, I cannot answer that question. You know, there are times when you've definitely practiced for something, and you get to a point because you're nervous and you're tense, and you cannot actually, the words cannot come out, you know, you cannot flow as you're supposed to. So that was one of my biggest fear, and the fear that maybe I might want to, you know, sometimes you feel like you need to go to toilet, you know, and that nervous, the nervous feeling that we want to send you to the toilet, you know, and all that. So I was just scared. I was also scared for the interviewers not to see through my lies, you know, to be able to convince them that this fellow you're saying here has actually done these things that he says he has. Because one of the biggest things you don't want is, first of all, you should understand that if the interview is going well, they will take you to the end of the interview. These guys, they don't have time to waste. If they say this interview is supposed to be taken for 1 hour, if you actually take an interview for an hour or even 50 minutes, then it went all right. But if 20 minutes down the line of an interview or 25 minutes and they tell you like, okay, we have all we need, just know that, just forget. Yeah, I don't know if it makes any sense. Because if they can see through your lies and they say that this guy is no business, you say, okay, we'll have what we need, we'll get back to you. Just know that we'll never get back to you. So if one of my biggest fear, or what, I don't know if the question, if that's the answer to your question, like what was your biggest holdback or scare during the process, was the fact that I was scared that the interviewer should see through my lies. And I'll end up being on the spot where I cannot even answer a question, and I will be, you know, my pants hung up in the air and I don't even know what to say. And that's just it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, he confirms you're hitting the point. Okay. So Aqua, the floor is yours.
Greetings everyone again, and greetings to you, Pride, and special congratulations to you. I'm just very happy that I hope that the sessions that we had prior to you going into some of these the technical interviews or the later stage interviews, I hope those became fruitful. So I was more than really elated and so happy to hear directly from you that you had made it. So yeah. Congratulations once again, and it really shows the testament, the journey that you've gone through. So it was really, I mean, you're a teammate as well on the Site VPN, and so it was great to see that a whole combination of things too, with, you know, all the involvement that you had with WirfonCloud to all helps in making that a reality. So congratulations once again. And I think for everybody else, yeah, I think Pride is a good testament of, you know, the tenacity, having that persistence going around. You look at it, cloud is not very old. You know, it's only 2006 that this thing started. And really, you know, there are not that many people that have it. So there's a lot of opportunity out there.
A lot. I can tell you that there's a lot that's still looking for people. They need people to come and work. You just hone your skill set to get into the job market. Before you know it, you're earning 6 figures, honestly.
Okay, great stuff. So yeah, well done once again. And I can't think of any particular question for you, but I think the one that I'll say is that if if at all, you know, you wanted to just tell somebody that was in your same shoes that, hey, what would be the message that you just tell them that, look, I've been through this journey. What would be the message that you tell them that will just sum up what will be the key thing or the key message? I said, okay, this just sums up my whole approach, and this is where I am right now, where, you know, I'm well and truly onto this journey. What would you be at least the key
Okay,
thing that you said that will sum that up?
the first thing, before I answer that question, the first thing I need everybody here to understand is my story. It can never be the same as someone else's story. You know, even with all the factors and variables in place, if we all had, because I wanted to use all of this. When you ask someone a question, they'll have to tell you that you have to be resilient, focused, you know, determined, and all that. Yes, true. You have to be determined. You have to be focused. You have to be resilient. You have to you have to have a goal, a set goal, know what you want, especially with regards to cloud. That's true. But at the same time, we both can actually apply some of these principles. But you know, you will get a job before I do, or you maybe go ahead, maybe 2 or 3 years ahead, and I'm still resilient, and I'm still studying, and I'm still doing these things. So the only advice I can actually tell anybody, it's apart from being resilient, you be resilient, be determined, be focused. Like I said earlier, surround yourself only with cloud architecting or cloud, whatever is in the cloud, from your phone to your TV, YouTube. Make sure that all the suggestions that come are cloud-related topics. Watch these videos. Breathe, live and breathe AWS, live and breathe the cloud. You keep doing these things, you keep studying, don't stop studying, or just keep, because even those of us who had jobs, who are still studying, I mean, we basically don't sleep at night because we want to keep those jobs. You just keep studying. You keep reading these things. Read other things that you've heard about. Just keep reading. Just keep reading. And one day the job will come knocking on your door. Because the truth is, if you don't plant the seed, you will not harvest tomorrow. So you just put all of these efforts. You do everything you have to do, and then before you even know it, it will be in front of you. Your story might even be more blessed than mine. Who knows? You can never tell. It took me 8 months. It can take you 5, 6 months. It can take someone 4 months. It can take another person 2 years. All with all the same resources at their disposal. So don't, whatever you do, because don't start a journey and midway, and I started with so many people, and they stopped. They felt like, no, this was not for me. They stopped halfway, like, no, I'll go back to software testing. Honestly, if you start the journey, take it to the end, and you see the rewards. Just take it to the end. Take it to the finish line. Come with me.
Yeah, I like your answer, but I think that the one thing which I just picked out is that, hey, you just shut out the noise, and yeah, you just surrounded yourself by everything to do with the cloud. So
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah, thanks very much.
I did. I mean, I limited the parties. You know what it means to actually come to England I came to England in the midst of the COVID one, so all the snacks and all the bars were closed. So I did not even start enjoying. I don't start enjoying my country safe. Then all of a sudden I started studying. And then, you know, so I've not really had, you know, enjoyed this part of the world where I'm supposed to just yet. But it's now, you know, because I decided to forget about everything, forget about all the nightclubs, all the parties. And now I can afford to go to these parties. I can afford to buy as many bottles of whiskey as I want to. I can afford to do anything. I have the time. I work 9 to 4 because I'm supposed to work for 35 hours a week. So I have my free weekends. I can take a flight, go to Paris and come back. I don't have any stress because I know that I can actually afford it. So honestly, if you can shut the noise for the next 1 year, then when the reward comes knocking, my brother, you will not understand.
Right. I mean, the way you're speaking, most people, other people here, people should just think about the money, like it says, think about the money when you're starting for this thing. When it's getting difficult, think about money and think about how you enjoy later.
Yeah. Think about that one. That's the biggest motivation. Think about it. Honestly, it is very rewarding.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's very good. Pride, you really make me laugh. You come one country, no one study AWS cloud computing, put you down. But yeah, as you say, it's been rewarding and it's a very beautiful story. The other thing which you said that along the line, I think I was forgetting it is along your journey, right? Yeah, everyone is going to have their story. And it's important that you stick to it, the importance of, the continuous commitment, right? Because we always say to break into the cloud industry is very easy, but it's not a walk in the park, right? It doesn't mean that you should just sleep. You talk about leaving AWS, and there was a time we were saying that people should be playing YouTube videos of AWS like they're soap operas, right? So you get in the evening, you'll be playing the reinvent, listen to them continuously, listen to all those YouTube videos, subscribe to AWS channel, make them your #1 channels. You get in the morning, you play a topic on VPC is playing, you are doing other things, is rolling. In the evening, you come back, that's what you are playing. I always say, if you don't start dreaming about, if you want something so bad and you are not yet having dreams about it, then maybe your dream is not yet so strong, right? So you need to start dreaming the cloud. You need to go to bed and find yourself configuring a VPC in your dreams, Yeah. I mean, that's what I've always, then you know that you are really in for it. So, your journey has been, I think everyone, especially every new person here, I'm so happy with the new faces listening to this, especially those who are starting. I mean, all of you who are attending the practitioner classes and are so committed, I can only encourage you. For those of you who are in the associate that we are asking you to do presentations, you hear how it builds your confidence. Most of you see me sitting and talking here. When I finished university, I couldn't talk to a crowd, right? Now today, it took me a while to be here, but I also say it is only in that practicing and presenting, right, that you can have it. It is not something you learn in school. Then the other thing, Pride, Colette, you come in, but Pride also said something that was important. The aspect of, don't think that just having the certifications and everything, you have worked hard, you then just work. The aspect of being likable, right? You need to go to an interview and tell and appear like a human being, right?
Yeah.
One who is compassionate, one who is sympathetic, one who is likable, because people, even though we do all this IT, people don't like robots, right? You don't just come and all you have is your certification skills. You need that social aspect, that touch that makes you human, that makes people to like to have you around.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, as you walk, you do that. And then the other thing is, especially for the new people, you see this is a very open community. Network in the community, right? I mean, you must not necessarily talk to me. You must not necessarily talk to you. Here you see Pride was talking to Akko, trying to pick. Well, Akko is a great resource here in the area of networking, and he's always open. There are many people here who can always give that. Mike is here, all the instructors that we have Yolanda. Yolanda is really experienced, just experienced in what she's doing. She's not yet working the cloud, but when you look at the different areas or the different organizations she reach out to just to talk about WirfonCloud, what she's doing. She's one of our instructor lead. So in this community, your friends, don't just come study in the morning and go. Study in the morning and go. Check about your mates you are working with, and try to build a network. So use this opportunity as a place to build a network. The other thing that we hardly talk about is we have, most of the people, like when most people have their jobs here and they are working, there's another group that we are trying to build, right? We have what we call WirfonCloud Pro. WirfonCloud Pro is a group only for people who are already working in the cloud field, right? So that if they have points that we can just discuss about, it's important. So we want to keep that network because it's important for all of us. And we see this as something that we can keep. So that is just a kind of a round on things I can point out. And I mean, Pride, thanks again for your story. And let me have Colette come in. Your hand was up. Maybe she wants to throw some comments. And again, if there are people, please feel free to come in. Remember, we organize these sessions for you, so don't just be silent when you are here. So go ahead, Colette. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ban. I want to say a big congratulations to Pride. I'm very excited because I was one of the first people that Pride reached out to when he got his job. And I felt like I have achieved a lot of things in my small life. I was so happy. And the good thing that one of the things that is particular with Pride's success story is the fact that he grabs every opportunity that he had to learn something new. The WirfonCloud projects came up and he was one of the first people that volunteered to partake in it. And despite the fact that they were not in the right time for him because he was already looking for his jobs and getting into interviews, Pride was actually very dedicated and he wanted to attend all of those things, even reach out to me if he doesn't understand anything. So I want to say that the WirfonCloud is a way of, it's a community that will give you all the support you need. Your connections, if you don't understand anything, there's always someone available in WirfonCloud who is ready and willing to help you understand. So the new thing in WirfonCloud is the Scrum, and we can all see how much it is helping people get their jobs, even if they do not understand the whole thing. So everybody, I'm really expecting everybody to grasp this opportunity to understand that aspect of it. You are learning to be solutions architects, to be developers, to be cloud architects. And it is important to understand the environment where you eventually be working. And that will be a plus, and that will be something that will distinguish you from other competitors in the same role that you're going in for. So thank you very much, and Pride, I'm wishing you the very best in your career.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
If I may.
Go ahead, Pride.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one very important aspect. It's about support at home. I don't know about all your particular situations personally, but if you have a supportive partner, then you are on a very, very good footing. On the other hand, if you have a toxic partner, you please drop the dead weight. Honestly, yes, I can tell you, because you need a very clear mind. You don't need to be able to be thinking and being stressed on this journey. You need to be able to sit and study and focus. If you have a partner that stresses you day in, day out, my brother or my sister, drop the dead weight. Think about yourself and go ahead. If you have a partner that's supporting you and actually seeing the dream that you're trying to achieve, because some people will not believe. They will try to squash your dreams like, that thing's not possible. How can you be earning that much? Those people, don't just run away from them. Look for people who you know will be able to encourage you, like, bro, yeah, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And rather than tell you stupid things like that's not even possible in this side of the world, that's not possible. Please, that's just what I just wanted to add.
No, that's very great, Pride, and I think you are giving your partners thanks for giving you, believing in you. I think that's the how will I call it? I think in this journey, and especially journey in life, in total, right? Supporting partner, I'm sure is the best.
Oh yes, because like I said, when I came to England, you know. People come to England and they have to do jobs, and to survive. But I came to England, I started doing software testing. I did software testing training. I told my partner to just give me a minute, let me do software testing. Did software testing, took me a while, did the software testing training, got the certification. As soon as I got the certification, I was like, I want you to do AWS. So you see how patient, she had to wait for me to do the AWS again. You get what I'm saying? Because even after years, if I had done the software testing and the moment I said I want to do AWS, I was just like, Masa, you've already done software testing. Why do you want to do AWS again? All of those, that noise is not going to help me. It's going to put a lot of pressure on me and I will not get to where I want to get to. So I took another 8 months again to do AWS, and She was supportive throughout, and this is me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's it.
No, thanks for that testimony, and thanks for putting your wife there. They say behind every successful man, there's a lady. We're happy for you. And yeah, that's good. Really, thanks for sharing that. And I think you all had the advice, right? If you have a toxic partner, job that low, that weight. So I hope some people don't get being boxed this night. but that was a nice one, right? I think literally people should go and ask for. Literally, people should go and ask for more understanding, but that's a very nice one you concluded that with. Yeah, Emmanuel, you wanted to say something?
Yes, please. To Pride first, congratulations, Pride. Thank you for your good intention, and I like the way you took control of the interview. That's something a model to copy. Yeah, and to Banjika, I just want to find out about the Scrum. When you started the presentation today, you talked something about like it is closed. I don't know what you meant by that, because there are some persons whom I invited today and they were like interested about the Scrum thing. So I just want to throw more light on that, please.
Yeah, the Scrum, we are offering a Scrum challenge. The registration has been closed, and because the classes already started. So I don't know, you know what, maybe these people can reach out personally to Lady N or Lady T, and then maybe we'll then talk with Colette to see if this is still possible. So just reach out to Lady N and then or Lady T, so that we sort that and see if, with Colette as well, and see if we can have that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So we have almost 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Please remember, this is your session. This is a time where you come to ask your questions. The key thing here is, the other thing you see, Pride did software testing before coming here, right? The reason for this community is to shorten the journey for every person. And that's why we keep asking, bring more people here, right? So that people don't have to go through. The other thing is just know where resources are. Some people don't know. These things are all online. We already know where those resources are. We know actually with the stories that you've heard for the past 3 sessions, or for the past 3 success stories, WirfonCloud already has a formula that can take you from start to finish. I mean, that's just the truth. So we are trying to shorten the journey. We strongly believe that as people, Africa is always behind in everything. And then the other reason for WirfonCloud and why we continue to leave it the way it is we believe that if we can have more people showing to others that this is possible, more people believe in this. The more people we have doing AWS from our regions, and the more people taking positions here, the more people seeing this and creating more communities, the much better for sub-Saharan Africa. So we don't care where you are from. I mean, we have Ogo here. Ogo is from Nigeria, was brought here by Sadiki. We've had 1 or 2 people join us from Rwanda. We need to have more people in this forum. So spread the news. Some people used to come here and wonder, is this something from? So no, it's just that, just like the Chinese call it Samsung, we don't know what Samsung is, but that's a Chinese word, right? But we all have Samsung. We also want to make our words known. So we want to push our own language, right? So WirfonCloud, even though Wirfon is some language, it doesn't mean that it's limited, right? It's just also trying to use appellation that is also recognized by our own people. So let this community keep growing. Invite as many people as you can. Take what we say here serious, and if you are committed, the other thing is, remember that, as Price said, right, take this journey to the end. If you've not had a job and if you are really down for it, make sure that you go to the end, which means having that job. The key thing is, are you doing what's important? I mean, remember when Pride has got a job, but he didn't have the opportunity to listen to someone speak like him today when he joined WirfonCloud. We have not yet had people doing success stories. So for those of you joining now, or for those of you listening and you are starting, you are even more in a better place, because you can hear from him what his journey has been, and you can immediately learn and apply those same things. So yeah, so that is some of the things I can highlight as we're closing soon. And I don't see any hands on. I don't see anyone asking a question, but I'll leave it now. Feel free to come in. If not, I'll slowly let Price give the concluding lessons, words. So please feel free to come in. Yeah, anyone.
All right.
Okay.
Pride, let's see, maybe someone wants to come in. Lady Anne, you want to come in before we go?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not about, it's about what I shared earlier in the chat to remind people that there is the link to register to WirfonCloud in case you're not in the WirfonCloud main group. Now to the onboarding for new members, please, you can look at that link. Then the practitioners to join the practitioner class, a big reminder is you can only register on the Saturday session. So if you're here, please remember to join the link and also the WirfonCloud labs. You can find that all in the lab, all in the, in the chat. Thank you.
Sorry, I see Sally Bengia saying you want to join the WirfonCloud. Just make sure that you have Telegram. If you have Telegram, then you can follow the link that you have shared and join the AWS Cloud Practitioner Course. So it's already going on, but it's not too late to join. We've just had some sessions. You can watch the recordings on YouTube. So it's not too late to join the Cloud Practitioner. Just make sure you join now. And then, for the Scrum, we'll figure that out. So have all of that. But before Pride will come in, I don't know if Titus wants to come in here and just make a comment. We keep advising people to take some basic Linux classes, or those are things we'll try to have. But Titus, I know there's a course that you've been doing on Linux, and I don't know if you want to just say something that you've been doing in regards to that course. We did recommend that course so that we can see if we can recommend to more, and maybe we'll try to build a community doing that course. Titus, I don't know if you are able to speak at the moment.
Yeah, Brother Browns, thank you for the opportunity. Greetings to everyone. I want to further thank Pride for the achievement, and I think he's so resourceful to WirfonCloud. It's a pleasure being in this family. Yeah, as far as the Linux class is concerned, I am actually doing my best, and it is really an interesting something for everyone to do. Sometimes when I started trying to do the PWD, the LSI command and so on, I don't even think to it anymore. It is very, very interesting, especially the course. The lectures are very simple for anyone who can listen and follow and do the practice as well. I think I'm doing my best with the course, so I'm almost at the level 6. There are 10 lessons to be covered. I think by Monday I'll be starting doing the course on scripting and networking. So it is very, very interesting. I encourage everyone to register for that Linux course. As we earlier heard from Pride and other people have come and testified that there are some of the aspects we need to go out of the box. It's not only everything that has to come from cloud. Some of the dots we need to find them around to complete the sentence. So it is very, very important that since we need to do the CLI as command to provision our resources, so it's very important to have some basic on some of this on this Linux stuff, and most of the machines talks of Linux and so on. So it's very, very interesting. Throughout my journey, I've never known how to create my own virtual machines and try to deploy code or write something and have a response. I also learned how to broadcast. So I'm so proud of myself. I can broadcast to some machine and get information about it. So
okay, super.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It's very important for everyone to join.
Okay. No, thanks for that, Titus. As I said, the course has been shared on the WirfonCloud channel. You can check that on chat and as well as on the channel. Titus have been doing this course now, I don't know, 6 months, Titus? Do you remember 4 months?
No, it's just 2 months.
2 months, okay, right. And remember this course, I mean, when you do the shell scripting, I'm sure if you finish up to module 7, you will have gained so many skills, and you will have gained almost enough, because the other part of this is talking about interview and other things. Exactly. So yeah, so my advice to everyone is we are not having a Linux course going on here, but we will definitely want to push for a Linux group and have it. I mean, with Titus having gone up too far now, I mean, even if you just come there and remember, Titus also started from scratch, right? He knew nothing about the computer.
Exactly.
So when I was talking about PWGLS, which may be maybe abstract to some of you. So yeah, you can also do the same like Pride, right? So don't think these things are impossible. So no, so that's very great, and thank you, Titus, for recommending that course again. I just wanted to make sure that we shared that and you took that and you've been serious with it to let others know that they can do the same. So let's hear from, without hands up, I noticed someone wrote something, maybe before Pride concludes. Someone wrote something about, please, I would love to, you mentioned you had to get so much resources in addition to those provided by Wirfon, most of these resources being online and requiring bank cards and so on. But as you know, in Cameroon, it can be challenging. Can you please advise on that? So what I can say immediately is this, right? That's the unfortunate thing about, being in Africa. And then, the bank card or Visa cards are something that almost everyone in the Western world will have, or the majority, not everyone. And these are some things, even like PayPal, some people will use. But apart from these resources, that's why we always try to share some resources that are completely free, right? You may not be able to register for a course, but I can guarantee you that there are a lot of resources which we have shared here that address some of those basics, that if you cover and reach a certain level, you can move far. Very soon you'll have Black Friday, where you have most of these courses being sold at a cheap price. So I will say for those, especially like the Linux course, you people should look out for it. But if you are in Cameroon and you really want to buy a course, right? If after you have studied the basics and the intro courses that are free and you really want to study it and you have the money, but the problem is you cannot buy it because you don't have the Visa card, then I will say, reach out to me, right? Or I will try to figure out how to do it. Maybe you transfer it. We figure out how you can transfer it, and then we figure out who can buy the course here for you so that you have it, and then, then maybe send the money somewhere. So if you really, after covering some of these courses that are free, and you really want to buy a course and you are limited because of, those aspects, just reach out to me and let's talk. We'll then talk in the community and see how you can be helped in that aspect. So that's what I'll say for you, Donald. Titus, you want to come again before I go? Your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Bam. I just want to inform, especially those who are back in Cameroon, do not have the possibility to buy any course. I just want to give like an opportunity for anyone who want to join me in the Linux course. If you're interested, you could contact me. I can help buy you the course and as my own contribution, because I need people to come and we can study together. So in that way, we form a study group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Pride. Titus, that's great. So here's an opportunity for those of you in Cameroon. Reach out to Titus, and he's willing to help. So thank you so much, Titus, for that. And thank you for giving back to the community. Yeah. So yeah, let's wrap up by listening to some last words from Pride. Pride, just go ahead and give some, in general.
I think there's someone's hands up, Thierry.
Okay, Thierry. Yeah.
Hi, Pride.
Hello.
It's very inspiring story.
You're breaking up.
With
okay, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
The situation of things. Okay, the situation of things. You know, go to your normal, the normal course for the SAA. Then you want to add other things. Okay, I heard you talking about Scrum. We talked about the developer tools. So how did you go about? Because now this is what you have to really think of. You have to really think about. So how did you address that issue of you having to integrate other things?
Okay, if I get your question all right, it's like, okay, I did, after doing the associate, I had to do Scrum and actually do the IAC tools. Then how did I manage all that, right?
Exactly.
All right.
How did you manage your time every day? How was it?
First of all, I did not do Scrum. I just had the opportunity for someone who was a Scrum master to show us how the agile environment or how the agile methodology works. That person was Colette. And because in every working environment, they use the agile methodology in most. And the agile methodology is bringing teams together to work together on projects. Like, you know, you have various tasks you're working on, and then you have to give your feedback on the task, on all your challenges and all that. So every day you come and you guys are having meetings. If you have some time, read on it. So I did not do Scrum. Yes, I did not do Scrum. I just had an opportunity for someone to show me what happens in the workplace on a daily basis. Because when I get to the workplace, I don't need to ask my colleagues that how can I pick up a ticket on the Jira board, or how do I raise an issue, or how you get one, because I've really liked that. I've been working before, and if I've been working before, I must have used Jira. I must have worked in an agile environment. So I need you to understand that I did not do Scrum at all. I did not take that as part of my studies.
Okay.
Is that part clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. All right. For the other ones now, I did not do all at once. I first of all did my training with WirfonCloud and other sources. I can say again, YouTube, Google, Udemy, WizLabs. All of these are courses that you buy online, and those are accounts that you can create. So when I'm not with WirfonCloud, when I have maybe 1 or 2 hours, I will sit and I'll listen to those courses, and I'll read some of those courses. When I'm driving, or when I'm in the gym, I put a video on YouTube. It's about 5 hours long, and I'm listening on my earphone. I'm listening to music. I'm walking out. I'm listening to someone talking about deploying left and right and stuff like that. So it becomes part of my subconscious. That was my study technique. And when I had done all the solution aspects of the cloud, and I realized that I needed to add some more skills, like some more resources to my skills, I had to go and do the DevOps part of it. After I had done all solutions architecting, I had to go and do DevOps. So I did not do it all at once. I finished solutions architecting, and then I moved on to DevOps tools. If that makes any sense, Thierry.
Yeah, it's fine now.
Yes. So it can be daunting to do all at once. To do the solutions architecting part and then doing the DevOps part all at once. It can be daunting. So my advice has always been like, finish doing the solutions architecting part, because it's very likely you can actually get a job solutions architecting, where all you have to do is develop an architecture. You don't have to know whatever is happening in the back end. It's possible. But if you want to target a higher salary bracket, you need to add DevOps tools to your belt. You need to be able to deploy, to use IAC, to use infrastructure as code tools. So it's all up to you. If you know you can do this, but to be very attractive in the job market, it's always good to have those tools. Even if you are not an expert in DevOps, as long as you even have an idea, you have a knowledge about it, will give you a competitive edge over the other applicants. So you finish doing the solutions architecting bit, and then you can go, if you can take your time and do the DevOps bit, then it's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay.
So in the absence of any other question.
Bro, I like the way I talk about the money part, man. I love that bit.
Yeah, that should be your biggest motivation, brother.
Oh, the way you're talking about it, the smile on your face, but it's just like, let's go do it.
Yeah.
That's a big motivation. So anytime. So in the absence of any.
Yeah, Pride. In the absence of other questions and time also, we will just hear your last words. This session was for you and to inspire us and the community. So yeah, what are your closing after listening to?
I think I have one more question from Amas. It says, thinking of how volatile the knowledge gained on each of these courses is, how did you sustain your knowledge on SA while doing DevOps? You should understand that they are not similar, but you use DevOps tools to deploy AWS resources. So while you're using those tools, you're actually still refreshing your knowledge on AWS. You use all these DevOps tools, Terraform. I might just be calling them, and you think that they are what's coming from Mars. They are tools. They are just tools. They are tools. You can use them to deploy your EC2 instances, your RDS databases. You can just use them like you just write a code. You understand? You write a code, and then you deploy the resources rather than going through the console and clicking next step, this step, this step, this step. So it's faster. It's a faster way of deploying your resources, because there will be time where you have to deploy maybe 50 S3 instances, 5 S3 buckets. You cannot go and be clicking the console. So they provided a tool that you can actually write lines of code, and once you actually run the code, all of that architecture is deployed. You get what I'm saying? So they are not similar, but they are dependent on each other. You use the DevOps tools to deploy your resources. They call it IAC because it's infrastructure as code. It's deploying your infrastructure using code.
Right, one more question, one last one before you go.
Yeah.
What automation tool are you guys using in your workplace? I know that you're new still though.
Terraform.
Is that the only one?
Yeah, it's Terraform. Terraform because it's cloud agnostic. Whether you're on cloud, whether you're on GCP, whether you're on Azure, whatever cloud platform you're using, you can use Terraform to deploy your resources in your environment. That's why everybody actually uses Terraform. CloudFormation is limited only to AWS resources. But most organizations, I can guarantee you 90% of organizations use Terraform.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for monitoring, what are you using?
For monitoring, we use New Relic.
Pardon me, Udemy?
New Relic.
I've never heard of that one. Okay, thank you.
It's new too. Yeah. Okay. So final words, I guess, conclusion.
Absolutely, that's fine. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead,
okay,
Brett. Yeah.
I can't overstress the importance of having a clear mind, and like I said, drop the dead weight, and I mean it. And don't be discouraged. I'll let myself out here now. Anybody who needs my help in any regard whatsoever, any questions that you might have to ask on the side, if you're feeling too shy to ask me here, and you can always reach out to me on the Telegram channel. I think it is there. You can look for my name and message me. I'll answer your questions. If you need my help, if you need anything, I mean, I'm part of this community now, and I'm willing to actually give any assistance to actually make sure that my brothers or my sisters can be where I am today. So if you need my help, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you need me to do anything, please, you can contact me. And yes, so for now, that's all I can say. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you very much, Pride. Thank you for being a great resource to the community. You came here, you saw what the community could give you. You are coming back to give. We are very happy we're very happy also having you as part of this community. And your story today, we definitely hope it inspires everyone here to believe, right? We can all do this, right? This is not meant for some people out there. It's for everyone. WirfonCloud is out here to make cloud computing fashionable. If you want to tell us, they say if you want to brag, if you want brag, I make sure your certifications in first. No can brag here where you don't get no certification. We are not interested. So that is, if you need bragging rights, show us your certifications, and then of course make sure that you can defend those certifications. And the only way you can do them is by doing labs. I'm happy. I'm happy. Pride has talked a lot about command line interface here. It shouldn't scare any of you. So it's also, you need to learn the console first. After that, as you advance, you go to the CLI. So it's been great having all of you. I will conclude with remember, for those who are out here in Europe, WirfonCloud hoodies are out here for the call. So if you are here and if you need a hoodie, if you need a cap, you see I have my cap already. So please do let me know. You see the prices, that's just the production prices. I mean, they're expensive because we wanted to just try and see how they look like. And the quality is really good. I have mine here, Lady Anne has. And if you look at the, during the summit, we also had our bottles and cups. Most of the people who have this have really appreciated it as well. So depending on what you need, I'll share this to the forum. And just let me know if it's something you're interested in. So then I can know how many to produce for the next shipping. But so for those, I know some people, especially those in Cameroon, will be asking that when is us or Cameroon coming. I'm trying. When the time comes, we'll see how to do that. But that's what we have. So That's it for the evening, everyone. It's a great as announcement. Our next sessions, we'll be looking forward to other. It could either be maybe having other stories, or I will have to figure out within the week what should come in. But the things that could come in, one of the things, especially the projects. So the members from the different projects will come and talk about what they have been doing. And then also watch out, we'll be announcing soon for people who want to get into the next projects, but there will be some changes. I'm very happy and grateful for the pioneer groups who have made this to show that it's possible. And especially I know each time I say this, colleague is like, why do you keep bringing me up? But I'm very thankful for her for having made the agile methodology a common word now in this community. So we'll be seeing how to bring back the projects for the next set of people. So be watching out for that announcement when it comes. And yeah, that was it for us. And I should say good night to everyone. And good evening for those who maybe are just starting. I think it's afternoon for those in Alaska, like Trezor and the rest. So good afternoon to others, and a good evening and good night for those going to bed. See you. For those on the practitioner, yeah, great. For the practitioner, don't forget Monday, right?